Hi, my name is Katie Mary, and I specialize in photographing weddings around the world. I started with film, went to digital, went hybrid, where I still am today. I was doing all the digital post-production myself, and like most photographers, getting overwhelmed and burnout. So long story short, I ended up working with Marta of Refined Presets, who would help me match that digital to my film. Started with color, then went to black and white, and today we have a full set of presets that we use, and in a few clicks we're matching my film and my digital faster than ever. Today I'm going to walk you through that post process and show you how best to use them to make sure you're getting the very best out of them the fastest. So we're making it over here to Lightroom. I've shared with you a little bit about my relationship with Marta and how that's evolved over time. And what we're doing is I've imported everything, so I've got my film selects back from the lab. I've gone ahead, and how I do it is I will positive edit those film selects, and then I will, together with all the digital, import all that into Lightroom. And there's a million different ways to do this, but over the years this is what I found works for me. So now I've got all the images in Lightroom from this particular shoot or event. Depending on the job, if it's a wedding, I might process out some sneak peeks real quick. That would usually be before I had that film. So that would be digital and just using the presets quickly to do that. If it's something like an editorial or something I need done quickly, I might just edit it myself. If it's a bigger bulk job, most of the time, I'm then sending that to Marta. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and go through my film, and I do like little 10% tweaks. So my film comes back about 90% of the way there. Most people would say 100%. I'm just always tweaking things. And so I'm gonna go ahead and make those tweaks, and I'm gonna go ahead and then do that positive edit on the digital. And the reason I'm doing that after the film is they're kind of sometimes filling the gaps a little bit, depending on the job. Everyone's different. Some editorials we've got where we're shooting more digital because they need to see it right away. Some weddings, everything's different these days. So that's why we're making sure that our digital looks just as good as our film, and sometimes, once in a while, even better. So at this point, we're gonna send over this catalog to Marta. She's gonna walk us through on some of this color matching with our film, just pulling up some digital, pulling up some film, and using the presets to align them together.
Okay, so we've imported our presets and profiles, and you can find them both right here in your side panel. We've offered presets and profiles because we understand today that there's a lot of different editing preferences between presets and profiles. Some prefer one over the other, so we decided to offer both to you.
And for people that don't know, what are those key differences between the two?
So basically presets, when you open them, you're going to get, you can see we have both the same for both presets and profiles. The difference is in presets, when you click on one, you can see over here that your side panel changes and all of your settings change. So you actually can visually see the changes that were made to the preset, and you can hand tweak them from there if you'd like. With profiles, the difference is, and it is kind of fun, when you click on it, let me reset this first. So then when you click on the profile, and you scroll over and see you don't have anything set here, but everything has been changed on the image. But you have this great little slider bar here. And what this allows you to do is to increase or decrease the intensity of the profile. So a lot of people are really enjoying that. But if you want to hand tweak, you can still adjust your contrast. You can still adjust your exposure and everything in between.
Great.
So let me go ahead and reset this so we have it fresh for another edit. And the same thing works for color.
So just so to catch you guys up, this is an image, an editorial we did recently in Mendicino County, and we made sure to shoot lots of film and lots of digital. So this is a raw digital image. Obviously you can see there's nothing retouched here. We've even got our tan line still there. So walk us through your process of how we're gonna go ahead and start approaching this image.
Absolutely. So we're going to start with a color image. So I've opened the color presets, and I'm gonna use the presets just so you can see how they look on the right panel. So what we've done is we've offered 5 basic different tones and levels of contrast, shadows, whites, blacks, and then with each of those we've also done a plus. So if we have a 1 and a plus, this gives you like a little punchier version of the first one. So if you need a little more contrast, a little more overexposed on your film, if you're film matching, you have those 2 options. But what we suggest you do is when editing, and especially film matching, is to bring up a reference image. So you're going to come down here to the lower left-hand corner in develop mode and click on your RA, and then you're going to go find your film reference image. So this is the image that we're working from, and we're going to use this to set the tone for the rest of the shoot, or this part of the shoot, so everything in the pink dress. And let me go ahead and reset here and get started. So what you want to do is start clicking through and find the preset that overall has the right tones for your film. The reason we've done this is because we found that labs vary, film varies, shoots vary, scans vary, and you sometimes need 3 or 4 different presets to get the right tone to match your film, or just the tone you're looking for a shoot, even if you're not a film shooter. So that's why we give these options, so you can flip through and find which one is getting close to the shoot. You're going to watch your blues, you're going to watch your pinks, you're going to watch your yellows, and see what fits best. So on this one, I think we're going to go with 4. And from here, this is pretty well white balanced image, but a tip we have that we highly suggest is going to your little handy white balance tool over here in Lightroom and selecting auto. For this image is definitely too warm. So it's not always right, but I would say 7 or 8 times out of 10, it's really close. And we can try daylight. Daylight was a lot closer. So you've got these options depending on the type of lighting you're shooting in that Lightroom's given you that can help balance out what your camera saw versus what Lightroom sees in the image. And it's just reading the warmth and coolness of the image.
Great.
So let's go ahead and go with daylight, and then we can hand tweak from there. So I'm going to lift exposure, and actually, I mean, that was almost a one-click edit. So let's see here, and you can adjust your contrast and such as needed if you need to do little things like that, but basically that's how we would edit that image, and sometimes maybe taking a little of the magenta out. And that's how we would do that.
Great.
So same thing.
Can you just click us to show that before and after for
Absolutely.
us? I know you can, I think, do that right here on the...
Oh, yeah.
So just real quick, depending on those options.
Yeah. And so there we have that. And then let's go ahead and do this image here. And we're going to do the same thing and pull up the reference. And you can see how the exposure and white balance on this was quite different. It's definitely very cool. Underexposed, which is great for this image because we have the backlighting. You don't want to blow out your background, so we definitely recommend underexposing a little bit when you're dealing with a backlight situation. And I'll show you a trick on how to fix that in post. So then we're going to come over here and we're going to click through again. Let me go ahead and increase our exposure a little bit just so we can see the colors. There we go. And you can see it's a little cool. So if we want to, before we run the preset, this one already has, oh, I clicked it. Same thing, we can go to auto, still too warm on this, definitely is reading it a little warm. We can start right there and click through your presets and find what is working for you. Doesn't need a little punch. Let's see here, 3, 4, I think 5 was one that worked really well on this shoot. And then
a little warmer.
Adjust the exposure a little bit, warm it up a little bit. And from there, you're just going to really tweak your temperature, your tint, and your exposure. You're rarely going to need to dive into this part unless you've got some crazy lighting or anything. You can adjust your whites if you like them a little flatter, or your highlights, it's right there. And with these presets that KT really wanted to have film grain and the film texture built in, so it is baked into your preset.
Let's zoom in and show them that.
There we go. And you can see how close they are, and this is a film, so we're a little soft right in there. It's actually really close. But if you don't want that, all you have to do is come down here and click undo film texture, undo grain, if you need to take that off for your image, and choose a different option. We have 400H++ built into these based on KT's preferences. And let's go ahead and take a look at some black and white real quick.
And the black and white presets, I think that these are something that are often overlooked because black and white, it's really easy just to slide that desaturation and call it black and white, and it's usually decent, maybe not great, but with these we really wanted, because there is something about the tonality of black and white film that you can't put your finger on, but it's fantastic. So we really went through and tried to really match that, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So again, because we're backlit, we were slightly underexposed for this, but that's not an issue at all. That's actually preferred. So definitely keep doing that in your shooting. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and do the preset. So we're the same thing. Let's click on one, kind of get it set so we can start, and then we're going to just get our exposure up. A trick I want to show you for exposure is everybody wants to just kind of start cranking. You know, they're looking to get this light area here the same, but then they've overexposed their image. In backlighting situation, and because of the way we've built our tone curve, you can actually not overexpose it like that. So you're going to push it to where your whites are where you want them, and then you're going to increase from the shadow bar. So we've built a tone curve strong enough that it locks everything in, but allows you to lift in those backlight situations without overexposing your image.
It's great.
And then from there, that's really it. So you would just click through. Oh, well, we just changed our shadows, so we have to go back and do that again because that is built in. So here, I'm just going to click through them so you can see the difference between the top and the bottom. The 400 and 3200 is really in your film grain and the texture of the image. So this was a Delta 400, I believe. So we'll probably stick with the top just so we're in the right film, and that would be this one. And same thing, increase our shadows again a little bit and just kind of get them where you want them. And there you go.
And I think that one thing that comes up when we're trying to film and digital match is difference in things like depth. And I think that there's obvious differences. For example, this image was shot on the right side with a Fuji GFX, on the left side with a Contax 645. And so we're using two totally different lenses, two totally different focal lengths, and for me, that's something that you're gonna, of course, see. What we're really trying to do here is make sure that we're matching that tonality and things like that.
Yeah, right? Your shadow depth, your black point, things like that. And that's why we have three options, is because as soon as I click on them, it changes on the screen for you guys. But that's what you'll see mainly. What's happening is different shadow depths, different black points, 3 being your strongest. And again, even with 3, not that we're film matching, but just to show you how I would edit this, you know, it would just be a little bit of a darker, slightly moodier. It just depends on how you're exposing your film, and that would change the variation between these two. You may have shot it more underexposed and you need it to be a little darker and moodier, so we've given you that option.
And a lot of the times where these come in really handy for me is even when I get the digital edits back after, I will sometimes be going through things like reception photos and just making that creative decision that I want it to be black and white. And in that case, I'm not film matching, so sometimes I just go, I want it contrasty or anything like that. So I think it's just great to have those options, and then that way you can kind of creatively decide in the moment.
Right, let's do this image here because this is another one where you see quite a big difference between the two. Gorgeous image, backlit but low sun, so very golden and delicious. Let me go ahead and increase my exposure just a smidge, and you can see the white balance is very cool here. So let's just go ahead and see what Lightroom wants to do for us. Warms it up just right. And what we found is, because when your lab is scanning your film, they're probably going to start with an auto to get started, and then adjust from their white balance from there based on your preferences and your personal color packs or profiles that they have built for you. So then we're going to just click through, and I'm actually going to work with plus on this because of the haze and backlighting on it. Plus actually gives it that little extra contrast punch that it needs to cut through the haze a little bit. And then we're just going to click through and find the one that we think works. And I think I like 4 or 1 on this one. And again, same thing as before, we're just gonna increase, and we actually need to warm it up a little more and maybe cut out a little of the magenta. And that gives us
too much there.
Right there.
And let's see when we bring up those shadows a little bit.
Yep. And again, with the backlighting, instead of pushing that exposure, you can just lift the shadows to kind of lift the front of the image up in this dark area. And then you can just adjust from there as needed.
And once again, let's show that kind of before and after with that little guy. Yep. So, I mean, that's a pretty big difference.
It is a big difference. But more than not, your film probably looked similar to this when it was shot. So, and that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is that your film does not come out looking like this. Your lab is doing some of that work for you in the scanning and
we're doing when we're overexposing in camera, but obviously it doesn't serve digital to do that same thing.
No, because you're just going to blow it out. So we definitely recommend, like KT did here, is underexpose it a little bit, especially when you're dealing with whites or backlighting, when you've got a lot of extra light coming in your image. That way we can save those highlights and retain them like film does so beautifully.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Why don't we dive into one more black and white just to show another variation.
Let's see here. And here's a nice high contrast one, and that is the film. And that gives you a really good idea. So that's got a nice contrast to it. And let me go over here and go ahead and click on our presets. And just like before, we just kind of click through and find the one that fits, that you think is going to be close, and then we'll adjust our exposure from there. So I think one works for this shoot in particular. And you're just going to increase your exposure, and like same thing, shadows. So with the exposure, what you want to watch is not always watch your whites. Whenever you're using your exposure slider, only push that as far as your whites can handle it, so you're not overexposing them and blowing them out. And then you're just going to lift your shadows from there to match the lift in the film.
Great.
And you can see how beautiful that looks in there. I would say the Fuji GFX files are kind of amazing, but it's just so close.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
Great.
And yeah, and we can show you the before and after on that.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Great. Would you like to walk us through one of the profiles?
Sure, let's do that. Let's go ahead and find an image here. Let's do this fun floral image just because this is pretty great. Yeah. Same thing, let's pull up our reference. And let's minimize these. Let's go ahead and do color profiles. And I'm gonna go ahead and increase my exposure a little just so I can see my colors better as I'm clicking through. So I'm gonna get it right about the right point. And again, you see me pull back. I pulled back because I was watching these white flowers and they were getting a little hot. So I pulled back so they weren't too bright. And then the preset's gonna save a little of that, but let's go ahead and click through. I mean, one is really close. And you can see basically between the two, the tones all stay the same. It's just the depth in the shadows and the punchiness to it.
Which is really just a matter of preference.
It really is. And just sometimes your lab, like even when I edit for you, one thing that I found is that sometimes I need it. You know, it's just however the scan looks, the lighting of the situation was a higher contrast situation, and even your film had a little more punch to it. And sometimes it's easy just to have that nice little click. I know for this shoot that 4 and 5 actually worked really well for your set, so we keep going back to that. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
4 is good. 4 has a nice little slight green tint to it, which really works well with your film scans.
And it's funny because when in this situation, then I would go back to this film and almost bring up the shadows in the film just a little bit because I like how it looks over here.
Right, and there you go. So sometimes, you know, you do prefer that. So you're just going to adjust your exposure, and then from here, if you feel like you need to give it the punch, and this is great for those that have that little more higher contrast look, and it really does give you a little bit of higher whites and a little more punch in the shadows.
So let's go ahead and once again just toggle kind of showing that before and after for us. Great. So we very quickly were able to match that on.
Absolutely, yeah.
And for the record, this shoot was GFX. At all my weddings, I'm shooting Canon, Fuji.
So you have second shooters that shoot Nikon.
Nikon. So it's all being processed.
Phase 1.
The same thing. Yes, phase 1. I am a big fan of cameras. So we're processing with the same approach, really. And that's why I think we have the variations in presets that depending on your camera, you might find that you're continually going back to that same one.
Absolutely, and not just that, but really when you're switching between different cameras, one thing you're going to want to adjust is mainly your white balance. White balance and contrast is the thing when I'm going through your weddings, and that's the thing that I tend to keep having to adjust, like when we're going from a Canon film to a Nikon film, it's just little tweaks in the contrast and the white balance between them.
So that's pretty much how we're using the presets. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple, but go ahead and give it a try. We're excited to hear what you think about it.